mindful of the responsibilities that you put before us, Lord. Guide all the councilmen and all their decisions, Lord. Bless that this town will be a glorification for you, Lord, that we will do what is pleasing in your sight. In Christ's most precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're now on the agenda to edit for business not on the agenda. Any council member have anything they need to add to the agenda tonight? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have received the minutes for our March regular council meeting in our agenda packet. Everyone had a chance to review those.
I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve the minutes, is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We've also received accounts payable. Mr. Mitchell, do you have anything else
No,
to
sir.
add to that list?
No, sir.
Mr. Gilmer?
Mayor, I'll make that motion to approve the March accounts payable as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, at this time, we'll skip presentation at this point, and we will go to public request. Mr. Sean Lindsay. Sean, how are you?
Doing wonderful. Thank you for having me tonight.
Good, it's good to see you. Sean is with the Southwest Virginia Spearhead Trails. This time we'll turn the floor over to you.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here tonight. I thought I'd give you a quick introduction of what we do in case you ever want to use this in the future. First of all, we're Southwest Regional Recreation Authority, and we're a part of the state of Virginia. We are a government, and our mission is to help the 7 coalfield counties increase tourism and economic development around outdoor recreation development. We also help with the quality of life issues in different areas. So if you look at what we do and how we gauge success, I think of a pyramid with steps on it. And so the first step is we build a trail. And when we build a trail, we're trying to sustain different local businesses that are already there. The next step is we start promoting the trail using Heart of Appalachia, our partner, and we try to get more businesses to come to that area and more people ride the trails. Then at the next step after that, we try to expand the trails to reach more and more communities. And we're trying to get more and more businesses started, and then also to improve the quality of life of the people there. Then the top step of that pyramid is we try to get a place where people want to come and move to come and help with the social issues and things that are going on in that area, bringing in more population of people. I know these guys. So did I tell you that these guys help support us? So just to let you know, that pyramid from starting a trail to getting more people to move to your area to help support local businesses is how we kind of measure and gauge success. And we are part of the state of Virginia. We're set up by the state of Virginia in 2008. A lot of what people think that we do is build ATV trails. And I've laid out some information before you that kind of supports that, but that's just a part of what we do. We started with ATV trails initially because we knew that would be very successful very, very fast. But we're helping communities all throughout the coal fields that come and ask us for questions and have issues in their areas that have to do with outdoor recreation. And we can fit in different models. For example, there are some communities throughout the coal fields that I'm just giving them advice. So I say, hey, we got a greenway we're working on. Where can we find funding? what kind of components should we offer our residents? What makes one greenway more successful than the other? Now, that won't be a spearhead trail. I'm just an advisor to them. Other projects, like I'm working with in the community right now, is I'm trying to get, I'm going to directly apply for grant funding to help them build a nature play center, you know, if they desire. And so I pitched the idea to them. They're going to decide. They'll let me know. I'll apply for the grant, and then I'll come and help them build a nature play center. It won't be a spearhead trail nature play center. A couple of communities will get a mountain bike bicycle pump tracks this next year through an ARC grant that we won. And so, and that's a track for mountain bikes. It'll be a quality of life issue. And so the two communities, one's in Pound, one's in Big Stone, will have mountain bike pump tracks. And then we won't maintain them or anything like that. Other areas are building trails and asking us to come in and become the authority that runs the trails after they're built. And so we won't have anything to do at the beginning, but they'll come to us and say, hey, we need someone to watch out for these trails and also to give immunity and insurance to the property owners. And so we'll fulfill that role. I want to talk about a couple of really exciting things that we're on the edge of right now. And if you have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But a couple of things we're really looking into. One of them actually started with Mr. Pillion here, but we did an economic impact study on the use of rails. So a lot of my trails are built on old coal mines that were formerly coal mines, abandoned mine lands. And so we went in and we built ATV trails, connected towns together, and we continue to do such, and we will continue to do so in the future. But along with abandoned rail, you have abandoned mines, you have abandoned rail. So right now we're identifying abandoned rail lines to see which ones might be advantageous to use in the future for something called rail bikes. How many of you know what rail bikes are? It's a new outdoor recreational thing that's becoming very, very popular across this country and all over Europe and Asia. And so it's like a car that sits on a rail and you pedal it with up to 4 people typically, and they're becoming very popular. So we did an economic impact study. We looked at possible conversion to excursion trains, which are the highest economic impact you can get from a rail, but they're also very costly and have a lot of regulations. Then there's rail bikes, and at the low end, it's doing the rails as trails. We rip with the rails and put down a mountain bike and walking trail, which, like we know in Damascus, can be very profitable. But so many people are doing it. They're literally popped up everywhere. Rail bikes are very, very uncommon. More and more are developing, but right now to ride a rail bike, you have to go to New England, Las Vegas, or the Northwest, and there's one going to be starting, I think, this next year in Florida. And so, a very widespread apart. Kentucky's working on one right now as well. So, rail bikes is one thing that we're looking into getting into in the future. Another part of outdoor recreation that we're doing an economic impact study on now to find out its merits, and we're looking for a place, and we'd really like to find a home somewhere in Russell County, is shooting sports complexes. So sportsman complexes are very, very popular, and they can draw people at these national events from all over the world if they're done correctly. So they have to be very large. So we're looking like a 200-acre plus site, and looking at doing multiple facets like long-range shooting, skeet and trap shooting, 3D archery, regular archery, pistol ranges, other types of like 3-gun events, things that can attract national events. So we'll be done with the economic impact study in the next 2 weeks. And we've already applied for some funding to see if we can purchase some property. And we'll continue to look for funding, but we're also continuing to look for sites until that funding is awarded. So one of the things that Russell County could offer us is you're kind of a gateway to the coal fields. And so if there is such a property that y'all know about it, I'd be very interested in seeing that. Besides these things that we talked about too, we're developing blue trails. We're working right now on the Powell River Trail, and we've received an ARC grant to develop 6 kayak sites in Lee County. We're building 2 equestrian trails right now, one in Dixon County and one in Scott County. We're also developing 6 dual sport and Jeep type routes on existing VDOT controlled roads where you have a lot of gravel roads and some asphalt to go to key locations in Scott and Lee and Wise County. We met together with those groups, and they have actually more gravel roads in Scott County than any other county in the state of Virginia. Go 200-mile dirt and gravel roads, and so we're trying to take advantage of that. And we found a bunch in Lee County and some other areas with connections that we want to make between them. So that's another thing that we're working on right now.
Are you looking at anything in Russell County or Lebanon? We are a main thoroughfare. Are you looking at any type of activities in Russell County or in this region?
Yes, we're wanting to come into this region and help out. We did win a grant this past year in combination with Daint, and we'll be building 30 miles of a new trail system for Russell County in the Daint community area. We looked at some trail properties in Honaker, but we couldn't find any that didn't have permits, or there was like 100 some property owners that you had to get easements for them to go around them. And so that area is not open yet, but we're keeping an eye on it. But
Keep an eye on Lebanon.
yeah, that's what we're here for. So typically, we don't come in and say, hey, we want to do this in your area. We have the communities come to us and say, hey, we have these opportunities. Do you think that they are good ideas, and can you help us develop them? Because we don't know where your assets are. For example, you might own 200 acres that make a great sportsman complex, you know, on the outskirts of the town or on the edge of the town somewhere, away from residential development, and a good, safe place to have one that's zoned correctly. I don't know if you do or not. That's why I brought it up. You might have an abandoned rail that comes to your town.
No rail here.
Yeah. I don't know. You may have a great equestrian area. You might just need a green belt for your residents, or a hiking area, but you know about where that should be. Maybe by a water body or connecting park properties. So what we are is a partner to help you in the things that you need, but I don't know the things that you have.
When you, as the information comes back on the feasibility of the shooting sports, we would probably be interested in hearing something about a potential indoor facility.
Well, now we didn't talk about going indoors, but you see my mission, according to our state legislators, is to support outdoor
You
recreation.
can't listen to legislators.
But I don't think it's a problem if I have a huge outdoor recreational site to have some indoor stuff on it. I don't think that's a problem. We have to check.
You have, in our area, there are a lot of folks that we know in our area who are into the shotgun competition, who are into 22. They go, probably the closest place is Kettlefoot here. Of course, they're in
Yeah.
a 200 or 300 yard range. But there is interest for indoor shooting competitions, particularly the shotgun areas and 22s,
Well,
because they do it year round.
yeah, and there's a ton of the need. So we did do the first part of the analysis, which we looked at a 160-mile radius around this area to find out what was available. And you can't go with 160 miles this area and find a long range area, over 600 yards. And so that's very difficult. Skeet and trap, you just have them on the outskirts. Kettlefoot, like my father-in-law lives in Scott County, he's been trying to get Kettlefoot for 2 years, and they're full up. They won't take any more new members. So you know, they're bursting at the seams. You have to drive into Kentucky to do skeet and trap shooting, the closest place, and so that's a crime. So the people in the 7 Coalfield counties, although we have 3 times higher rate of gun usage than the rest of Virginia, we have no facilities. One of the top facilities in the world, top 10 in the country, is located in Richmond. You know, there's only two recreational authorities in the state of Virginia. The other one's in Northern Virginia, and they have an indoor-outdoor range, skeet and trap, outdoor, indoor archery range, and it's one of their biggest profit centers they have for their outdoor recreation. But what I'm here for is just to say, hey, I'd like to come to the table with some of your key people that are interested in outdoor recreation to see if there's anything we can do for you guys. And we don't know what that is, and it could be anything outdoor recreation. For example, there's other couple things we're working on too. Last year we applied for a grant. We didn't win it, but we'll try again. An ARC grant, power grant, we applied for to get to help with Hidden Valley's climbing site. So there's a mountain climbing site there that needs a bathroom, and so we tried to apply for a grant to develop a bathroom there. But I've heard people say that Lebanon needs more places to hike close to town, and that you don't have any. That may not be true. I don't know. That's what I've heard. You don't have any places for people to hike unless they drive outside.
No.
Yeah.
There's a real good trail right here on the top of this mountain behind us.
Yes.
That a lot of people go to.
Now I do.
In Green Valley, we're seeing interest in bike traffic over there. Of course, they're coming across Route 80 there at the top of the mountain, channels now.
Yes.
And we're seeing some bike traffic here in town, so.
Yeah, and I grew up in this area, so I'm a little bit familiar, but I've been gone for a long time. But I remember hiking in the channels, Hyder's Gap area, and also Boy Scout. I was in a troop with some of the people here in town, were in a troop with me, like the Clay, Stephen Clay, Rachel Clay was his older sister there from this area. And we went to church together in Bristol, and so we would do a lot of stuff up here. And also worked for Dr. Gent, who had a lot of property here, and I used to help on his farm growing up. So you got great potential, Russell. It's a beautiful county.
If we did have that, talking about this walking trail, and to where we would have maybe a layout plan, you would be able to work with the property owners and help them with easements, or?
We can fill in gaps wherever it's needed in different areas. For example, I'll go in and like in Tazewell County right now, they are wanting to build a couple of trails, and they're going to build them, get the money for them. They just want them in my name so they can get the immunity, and so the property owners will give them easements. The property owners weren't willing to give them easements directly, but they'll give us easements. And so working in that area there. There's another trail that we're just helping them. It's kind of a greenbelt situation, and they lack funding. So we said we would help find the funding, or maybe help supplement with our labor. Last year, the county of Wise County called us and said, hey, we never asked for anything before, but we got a big grant and we need to finish a 1 mile hiking trail by December. Something's like 3 weeks away. I said, okay, we're there. So we went, I sent my crew over there with the construction equipment. We built a 1 mile walking trail in 2 weeks. Didn't charge them a dime other than their fuel. And that was something we did real easy. Then we won't have anything to do with that trail after that. I mean, if they need us to, we will, but that's their trail. They just need help. So we can fill in different areas. We might be useful to you on the planning side, because sometimes you might have an idea that could be just a quality of life idea, but with a couple of tweaks could become an economic center, to where it might be a draw to a larger area with a couple of tweaks. Sometimes it's okay just go after a quality of life project. It just helps the residents have a better quality of life, which does help with industrial recruitment and things like that in the future. When I was hired to come to here, I was actually building parks and trails in Tennessee for a town as their public works director, and we were doing it to help industrial recruitment. And one of the parks that I built actually recruited 1,000 jobs at a Japanese car manufacturer called Denso, helped bring them in. They were already there, but they were able to recruit 1,000 jobs because of it. So recreation does have some direct benefits to economic development. I spent the last 20 years of my life working for towns and cities in Tennessee, helping them with public works, economic development, and actually went to college, ETSU, got my master's in city management and public management.
Sean, thank you for being here. Are there other questions from council for Sean? We have your information. There's a good chance we're probably going to be contacting you about a couple of items after council considers them. Okay?
Sounds good. I really appreciate letting me
All
be
right,
here.
thank you for being here. Thank you. Okay, we're honored to have with us tonight our Senator, Benton Chafin, and our Delegate Todd Pillion. Gentlemen, thank you all for being here. At this time, we probably will turn the floor over to you gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Attorney Tiller. Nice to see you all, and it's nice to be here and to help you celebrate your 200th anniversary. That's a very prestigious thing for a town in Southwest Virginia to have reached 200 years in age, and I know that you're very proud of that fact, and also of all the things that you're doing to commemorate that throughout the year. And we're mindful of it, and certainly want to help you get big crowds for the functions that you already have planned and the things that you got going on. And I personally, just on a personal note, I congratulate you and commend you on the efforts that we're seeing out of this council to work very diligently and very hard at making things happen in the town of Lebanon. And I don't have the pleasure of living in the town of Lebanon, but I do spend more time in the town of Lebanon actually probably than I do at my home. I'm one of these people that works a whole lot, and I think Todd probably is a person that works a whole lot too. We take our professional life pretty seriously. Todd?
Yes, sir. Well, I'd just like to say congratulations, of course, and it's nice to finally present you all with this. We certainly appreciate you all coming to Richmond. It was our pleasure to have you in our chambers so we could pass that and recognize you. It's always nice to have somebody from Southwest Virginia to look up and see, to have you up there. It's quite the accomplishment, what you're doing, and how you're celebrating the entire year, not just one day. I had patients all day long that were bragging about what they had done this weekend in Lebanon at your Kids' Day. So you're obviously making an impact. The Cleverleys, of course, everybody loves. And so I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. And just know that you may have heard that I may not be your delegate next year. Hopefully I will be in a chamber with Ben. But no matter where I am, I will always hold a very special place in my heart for Lebanon. And we all work together to represent Southwest Virginia. So it's my pleasure to be here with you this evening and present you all with this commendation.
Well, we were all very thankful, and I'll start. I want to thank you for taking time during the session. We all were in a valuable experience being there, watching what you gentlemen have to do every day. And in the short period of time that you have to do it, we certainly appreciate your service to us and our citizens, the service you provide, and working for our futures. But we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to make those proclamations. It meant a lot to us, and we thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Our pleasure.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure doing that, and you know, it's great to have had you there and for you to have gotten to see some of how things are worked on in Richmond, and it's often been described as a sausage factory, and that's pretty accurate. You know, just to tell you the truth, it's pretty
Any
accurate.
other council members, comments for our Senator Deli this time?
I just want to commend John having us up there. We really enjoyed it and learned a lot. Really appreciate y'all having us, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
Always welcome.
All right, so, yeah, absolutely. So we've got these commending resolutions that were passed by our respective chambers, and we're excited to present them to you.
I believe we come down here first.
And Ben already has his copies printed for everyone, but if you would like a copy of both of these, I'll be certainly glad to get you each an individual copy of the
Of
resolution.
the delegate, of the
The
house.
House, of the House.
Yeah, he's
Got the Senate. I have one copy of the House, but I'll be glad to get everyone a copy of it.
Let's get down here, three on each side over here.
So I'm going to give these to the town attorney, and there's one for you as well.
And then, let's see, we need, I could get Todd in here and Ben on one side.
The town attorney now has your commending resolutions.
Kevin, can you go ahead
He's
and
gonna
wait
pass them out. Where you want me?
Right here, if you would, please. Right here.
That's a good place for me, to be helpful. So, you got it?
Well, I can.
Yeah,
Whatever you say, Senator.
there we go.
Okay.
So, can I get this guy to sign, just kind of squeeze it just a little bit there, and you want to do just a little bit there. And I need you to hang on, because I have other phones here I need to take pictures of too, so. All right. 1, 2, 3. So stay there.
Awful boss.
Right in front of the Senate.
She's an employee.
Okay. Now, does it look a little dark on
Yeah.
your phone? 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, thank you very much. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Ben, thanks for coming. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thanks for letting you. Good.
So you remember the coffee box? Oh, no, want to do that, Jim? I've done it.
Just put one in the-
this.
I sure will. Invite me back and I'll come.
You will, anytime.
Good night.
Good night. Very nice. Okay, Miss Kelly.
I was just saying, I didn't bring nothing that cool.
Where's that?
I brought you a report, which is the one that I give to the Board of Supervisors, and if you'd like to receive something like that, or like just a copy of that, I'll rename it and let everybody have a copy. I do that quarterly. I have already sent a letter requesting allocation for the coming year, and on behalf of the library board, we want you to give us twice as much money. But to quote the old song, I know we don't always get what we want. So as always, we would be happy to accept any allocation. But we are asking for an increase. We've been at $6,000 for about 4 years, and we were at $5,000 for 5 or 6 years. So we were hoping that perhaps it's time for a little increase. We do hope to increase hours and go ahead in this coming year make Monday a regular full day. We're still doing only a half day in Lebanon. We do a lot in the community and for the community. If you were at Kids Day, we were there shooting off rockets. I realized I didn't have enough, but for like every other person, I put a little thing about Citizen Science Day, and that's actually one of the ways. This is National Library Week, so I'm really happy to be here. We're having a book sale, and on Saturday we're going to be sponsoring one of the megathons, which is an event for citizen science. They have created an app that allows you to help advance Alzheimer's research by playing what is a game. But what you're really doing is watching videos of mice brains, and you're looking for places where the blood flow stalls, hence the name stall catchers. Because one of the theories is that when the blood flow stalls, it doesn't basically keep the brain cleansed of proteins that aren't needed, and that's how the plaque begins to form. But that's what we're doing this Saturday. You can actually do it from home. You can download the app. I don't know that I would try to do it on the phone. I saw it on one of the computer screens because we were practicing it, and it was sort of like, ooh, not these eyes, not on a phone. But you can. You can come and participate with us. You can download it at home. If you've got any questions, I will be happy to answer them, but we are always trying to build our programs and our services. I'm hoping to up our internet speed for the coming year to, 100 MBs, because that's kind of the standard now. And we're not at that at either library. And things like that do cost us.
Okay, you're diligent every year, and we thank you for coming again this year. Actually, it's a good time to be coming because this is the beginning stages of the budget preparation, and we forwarded your request to the chair of the Finance Committee, Mr. Gilmer, and the committees will work together on that. Do you happen to, can you refresh our memory on what you did ask, what you are asking for this year?
Double, 12,000.
Okay. 1,200, I thought this said a bit.
12,000.
500 a month, man.
Oh, okay. All
We're
right.
currently getting 6,000, but hey,
All right.
give us 7,500, we'll be like.
Okay, all right.
We do have a few things coming up that would be of interest that we're doing as a companion to the bicentennial. We're going to have this summer a display of some maps. I've got everything of a map of Southwest Virginia that we managed to get from 1881. There's not really much of Lebanon, but you can see where we are relative to Southwest Virginia, as well as topo maps from 1935. So we'll have stuff like that on display, and in the fall we're going to help one of the folks from the school try to do an essay contest.
I think provide info for our historical community.
Pictures.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've been very helpful.
And that's actually the other event we're gonna do, is we're gonna try to do some sort of history event during the summer, probably in conduct, I think we decided to do it on like the 24th because it's sort of an all-day thing. And we're gonna try to encourage people to bring their photos in, and we'll scan them, give them a fresh copy, and we'll have a copy for the archives to try to build that. Because there were some things that we noticed when we were looking for pictures of, like, we got lots of schoolhouses, but amazingly enough, we don't have that many other churches.
Well, thank you again for being here, and thanks, Kelly.
Appreciate it. Appreciate what y'all do.
Mr. Harold Carter. Harold,
Sir.
come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Harold Carter. I'm adjutant with Sons of Confederate Veterans Camp 840. We're located here in Russell County. Come before you this evening, I'd like to ask you to consider placement of one of our SCV logos, possibly on one of the organizational signs, the town signs. I provided your office with a photo of our logo and some background information on the SCV, Sons of Confederate Veterans. I hope y'all got to look at it. So if anybody's got any questions, I'll see if I can answer them.
So we do have a logo that we'll need, I guess it'd be a Kenny, but it would, yeah.
If approved, I'm gonna have to supply the logo sign.
Right.
I'm the only one that can purchase it through Sons of Confederate Veterans.
Well,
And again, did you get to take a look at it?
I have, Mark has,
I got it probably Monday last week and was
Yep.
this week, the rest of the week, and I hadn't distributed it, Mr. Carter. Where did your organization meet?
We meet at the Russell County Public Library,
The library?
the third Thursday each month, 7 o'clock p.m. You're welcome to come, join with us.
So across the road from
How-
the same time.
if council, if we wish to add this to our sign, did you say we have, well, let's just say our town manager would have to get with you to get the official logo?
If approved, I'll have to get with our headquarters in Columbia, Tennessee.
Okay.
That's our main headquarters,
Yes, sir.
and purchase it.
All right.
Mayor, we recently had those signs redesigned by our landscape architect, and those signs have already been, fabrication has started on those based on how many seals that we had. So my question is, would you consider letting us put maybe a sign somewhere else in the community instead of specifically on those signs? Because those signs, the format and the structure is set on that. For example, we had 14-inch, we had to cut down from 16-inch seals to 14-inch that are now being fabricated currently. So any additional seals that we add to that now, due to the we're gonna have to refabricate every seal again.
Okay.
Mine is an embossed metal, 1 foot by 1 foot square. 1 foot by 1 foot square.
And so my question is, can we place it, in the same area, but I don't know that it's gonna be able, at this point, to go on what we've already started construction on.
Do you want me to coordinate with Nathan and see if there's a symmetrical?
Yeah, see if we can get them there, see where placement would, strategic placement could be.
What you're saying, it could be possible. I'd have to discuss it with my membership. I had kind of thought about if we couldn't do the organizational sign, we've got a Confederate soldier right down here in town.
Right.
The monument's been there since 1914.
You mean put the sign down there?
Again, I'd have to discuss with my membership. I had thought about that as maybe a second choice if there was a problem, with the organizational signs.
We don't.
I don't know what we could come up with as far, you couldn't put it right on the monument. That would be defacing the monument, so, I don't know.
What we're saying is, what we probably need to do is let Mr. Mitchell meet with our landscape design contact and tell him what you have. It's 1 inch by 1 inch, a foot by foot,
Foot by foot.
foot by foot, and I guess the other thing is there a problem if that, let's say hypothetically, it'll fit, and it can be, is there a problem with making it round?
No, I don't think that would be agreed to.
That wouldn't be agreed to. Well,
If you get me that image, I'll get with the
Okay.
scales and, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I see.
And I happened to run across a picture the other day, you can barely see it, but they're Sultans. They've got the same thing on theirs. Can I approach?
Sure. So, is that right there? Is that the one right there with the
Yeah, right
flag
there.
there?
Which this one may be a little different.
Yeah, it looks a
than
little
what this
different.
one is. Looks like it's got a yellow black ring around it or something.
Is it agreeable to let Mark talk to Nathan
Right.
and see what we can do here? And we have a phone number to get, we need,
It should be, have you got this that I gave you?
I didn't get this.
I have my contact there.
You got it? Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna let Mr. Mitchell,
Okay.
can you pass it down through there too?
I suppose it's some interested
Right here's our logo now, and on back is,
on their side.
there's salt.
What do you think, Ed?
It's really nice.
Mine?
Whatever.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
So you-
If we didn't know that, this is
I got you.
It just kind of dawned on me a couple weeks ago, just to be honest.
Well,
We're not gonna mill what I'm saying, I'm
Okay.
talking just
That's
this
what
way,
I'm saying.
that's flood and everything
Well,
else.
see, the Rotary didn't want to do it, and they've got separate coming into town.
we can
And I think
let
that's
Nathan,
what
yeah,
Scott was
you,
talking about.
y'all talk.
If it still has to be square, he probably won't change his name.
Tell you what, we'll, give us a little time to do some
Okay.
communicating on our end, and we'll get back to you, okay?
Okay, that'll be
And
fine.
we'll see what we can do, all right?
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for coming. We have another donation request, I guess, Mr. Grimmer, I'm gonna forward this over to you. $10,000 request for the Doug Ashbrook and Virginia State Little League Baseball Softball Museum. And we'll forward that to the committee for consideration as well.
For what?
$10,000 donation request for the Doug Ashbrook and the Virginia State Little League Baseball and Softball Museum.
That's
Is
right.
this your can?
Yeah, it's a
And,
it's from Bob Huff.
From Bob Huff. If you would you send this, copy of this letter to everybody? I believe your printer, did you say your copies are down? Okay, right. Okay. All right. We're down to the town manager, chief of police report.
Thank you.
The mayor addressed a Little League donation. The next one that thing I've got is the RACE, which is Russell County Access to College Education, which is the program that provides the first 2 years of college free at Southwest to kids who maintain a certain GPA and do a little bit of community service. I've been approached and asked if we would support providing a location for them to do community service. I would recommend it. I think it would be good. It would be good for the town and good for the student as well. And I
What
think,
type of community service?
well, it could be from clerical to sanitation to wherever we want to go with it.
Helping out in our bicentennial.
Helping out at our events, and but
You know how many hours they have to do? Do you know?
it says 100.
100?
Yeah,
But
Per
you're-
year.
and you-
Oh, we can get that, not a problem.
And
each
it-
person,
The coordination of this thing may be that a young man or woman, it does 25 hours with us and 30 hours somewhere else. So that will be up to, I think Jason Monk is the one doing most of that coordination, but he asked if we'd be interested, and I would ask the council to allow us to participate.
Everybody good with that? Anybody opposed to that? Roll on, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, sir. We took care of Mr. Carter. And, Ms. Dane, did we go ahead and advertise, or do we need to request it?
we advertise.
We did indeed advertise, just to let you know, we have advertised for the pool summer help and the street summer help. So we'll have that available to you in May.
What about number 4?
Number 4, it's kinda,
Did you miss that on purpose?
I did,
Okay.
and try to get, I'm gonna go to, I'll go back to it. The painting on the poles, I'll let Mr. Gilmer discuss that a little bit more, is that just, basically, we got a bid that kinda scared us to death. So we're trying to explore and try to find some other alternatives and learn how to get paint to stick to those metal poles. The pricing that we got was, like I said, higher than we anticipated. One discussion we had is we may even talk to the folks at Steel Fab and see if they can tell us what's the right paint to put on that metal to make it hold, and it'd be a lot cheaper if we use our own personnel as opposed to the Wayland Richardson quote that we got was
What is
pretty.
it, rusted or what?
It's just where we wanna paint them to match the downtown revitalization.
We're gonna pay
Well,
them.
I know
big
they have got a lot of the paint down there, and they've got some down there that you put on rust, it will block, and it will hold,
Yeah.
if it's got something like that there. Check there and see if y'all.
We will.
The big galvanized arms and pole at Main and Church Street was initially part of what was put in the planning grant for the downtown revitalization. And in addition to the highway lighting, some of the rail, if you remember some of the rail work, plan on maybe working with Mark he said he's got, can help out on getting the fence in front of the courthouse and such, the iron fence painted. But we also wanted to get a quote from Richardson Wayland, I think, or Wayland Richardson on, because they do paint the signal lights, and it would be black. But I think the quote, the major expense was changing out the heads, the actual signal lights up there. And I don't know for sure if that's something that we'd have to have done or not in the downtown district, but the quote was upwards of $30,000. So our only other option is to possibly, grant funds can pay for that. But we'd be offsetting some of our expenditure on the streetscape, on the highway lighting. In that case, where the town would have to pick it up, or we'd have to use our urban maintenance funds to pick up the difference, with the highway lighting.
I was gonna ask if urban maintenance would let us paint can we use?
They will not, but they will pick up, they could possibly pick up more of the highway lighting,
Oh, okay.
expenditures, and then we could use,
Yeah, well, no.
we could use grant funds. But we're looking at cheaper alternatives, of possibly painting it ourselves or educating ourselves on what our options are, so.
Well,
There's more information at this time.
Yeah, I had, Bill Call was in town, and this came up, Mark had mentioned this. Steel Fab, what they can do is they can hook us up with the type of, the provider of the paint that you would need for that type of metal. And they can tell us, Mark, what it is we need to do to prepare those poles. And then he offered that they could actually possibly paint the guardrail for us in their paint. it's in sections, and then I learned a valuable lesson. We can't paint those guardrails without VDOT approval, because they may not let you paint guardrails. So we're waiting. I talked to JR, and he said he'd have to do some investigating, Mark, on whether, but those do come in sections, the one downtown, is that correct? Okay. So we just need to, I guess, Scott, continue on and see what our options are. Is that what you're thinking? Sure. Okay. Go ahead.
The next issue is the drug task force that we discussed earlier. I'm not sure whether I told y'all or not. I know I've told some of you, but I did get into the schedule and was able to knock out 80 hours a month out of the current schedule that was in the schedule now. So that's 80 hours, and some of that was at time and a half. So with that in mind, it, I hope, opens the door to the council entering into an agreement on the drug task force.
I'd like to discuss that in personnel. Okay, please. Is that all right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Can we discuss that? All right.
And the urban archery ordinance that you passed, and we submitted to Department of Game and Inland Fisheries. Before we submitted to you, they said, yeah, that's right. And then when we got it to them, they said, no, you can't have any permit, the $5 permit, $0 permit, you do not have authority to issue a permit. So we redrafted it and basically removed that information from it and basically kept the gist of it the same, asking you to amend the urban archery ordinance accordingly.
Copy of that.
I think you should have a copy of it in.
We don't have the amended copy.
Yeah, I think you did.
I don't think
Police
so.
report.
Yeah.
Is it in the police report?
I didn't get a copy in there.
You don't have a copy of the urban archery in your police report?
Not the revised.
You don't have one at all?
I don't see anything.
Where you did? I thought I did. I've got one.
So basically, we can't, you're taking out what we by law can't do. Is that what you're saying?
But they said we could initially, and now they've changed it, saying that you can't have permits now.
Is
So,
this something, Kevin, do you need to redo this for us?
I don't think I've seen it, period.
How about we let Kevin address this?
that'd be fine.
And, I mean, we don't have to do this tonight, do we?
No, but we probably do need to get it done in May, which will be fine.
All right.
I'll get it. Yeah, that's where I had that. And number 8 will be in personnel, and number 9 is just sort of for your information, the motor blew on the Kodiak. I don't know why you can't get a truck to last 37 years, but anyway. But right now, it's been a great old truck, and the discussion with Benny and all, you can get a replacement motor for about $3,500, which, it's our opinion, that's not a good investment. We are looking at an $800 motor, that if it turns out to be a real good motor, we might spend $800 more on it.
What model is it?
1942,
80 something?
yeah, it's 87, it's an 87.
It's the oldest truck we got in the house.
It's hauled more dirt than Carter's got liver pills. But if we can get it going real cheap, otherwise we'll start looking at future budgets of trying to replace the truck with something that is just gonna be much more reliable. It's been a great truck. If we get one,
Let's
a
keep
fourth out of
working
whatever.
on it, making a greater truck.
To a certain extent, I agree, but at that, I don't wanna throw $3,500 and $10,000.
I understand that. All right.
Other than the 2 items for,
I say don't miss Wednesday.
closed session, that's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mark. Mr. Taylor?
I've got a couple things to update you on in executive session, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Okay. This time, I'm gonna need a motion to go into closed session for the purposes of Personnel,
Acquisition to sell property, Mayor, if you'll add that.
and that. And legal, number 7. In the motion,
2.2-3711A for 1, 3, and 7.
personnel, acquisition or sale of property, and legal.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 10-minute recess.